So what is the outcome of the game tree? So they given a tree, game tree, outcome of the game tree when both the players play perfectly. So generally this is a game tree. There are win, draw and loss. Three values. So in the game tree, the leaf nodes are represented with E1, E2, E3 to E12. So square box is a max node. This is a max node and circle is a minimum node, min node. So max node selects the maximum value from all its childs and minimum node selects the minimum value from its childs. What is the outcome of the game tree? So that is the output of this tree. So first solve from values draw, D for draw, W for win, L for lose. So from this node, this is a D1, D2. So D2 is a minimum node. It selects the minimum value from their childs. So these childs are E1, E2, E3. So minimum value is draw is minimum when compared to win. Win is a maximum value. So minimum value it can select E1 or E2. So it is the D. That is minimum node. It selects the minimum value. So next C1, C2, C3. C2 is the max node. Max node always selects the maximum value. So all are D. Draws equal. It selects first maximum value. Max nodes always select the leftmost value, first maximum value, that is D1 and D. And B1 is the minimum node. This is the minimum node. Minimum node selects the minimum value. So C1 has the least first minimum cell. It selects minimum value, that is L from C1 because C1 changed the output. C1 is the L1. It does not affect the C2 and C3. It does not consider because the max node contains the minimum value. It selects only that value. It does not affect the C2 and C3. Okay. Next come to this branch. So this branch from leaf nodes E4, E5, E6, draw, loss, draw. So next solve this node. This node is the minimum node. This node is the minimum node D5. Minimum node selects the minimum value from all the childs. Draw is the maximum value. So L is minimum value. So it selects L. Next solve the C5. C5 is a max node. So max node selects the maximum value from its childs D4, D5, D6. Maximum value, draw is maximum. So this is the order: win, draw, lose. So draw maximum value, draw, and minimum node selects the minimum value. Win is the maximum value. So draw is minimum value, draw. So next come to this branch E7, E8, E9. So solve D8. D8 is a minimum node. D8 is a minimum node. Circle. It selects the minimum value. So first maximum value, first max box contains the loss value. It selects L from E7. Next solve the C8. C8 is a maximum node. It selects the maximum value. Maximum value is draw. And B3 is the minimum node. It selects the minimum value if it is first square, first rectangular box, that is first C1 child is low. It selects C7 only. It does not affect the C8 and C9 because the max node has a minimum value. So it selects the minimum value loss from C7. not C8 and C7, because the max node has a minimum value first and it is connected to minimum node. It selects that node, not their other children. So solve this branch also. So this is the D11 is the minimum node, minimum value. So L is the minimum, E10, it selects the E10. It does not select E11 and E12. It selects E11, E10, L from E10. And max node, it selects the maximum value. If it is minimum value, it go to next node, maximum value, D12. That is the maximum value, W. Win is the maximum value. And this B4 is the minimum node. Minimum node, it selects the minimum value. If it is maximum value, win is also, it is the minimum value. When compared to win and draw is the minimum value and it is in the max node. It selects the first node, it does not select these two nodes. D from C10. So next, solve this node. Maximum node selects the maximum value from first to leftmost, but it is a low minimum value, maximum value from first to this node. Gametree is draw. The outcome is draw. And what are the best strategies? So best strategies, draw, go in reverse direction. Draw. So it came from this direction and this direction. This is the max node. For the best strategy, minimum node selects all the nodes. All nodes selects. So C4, minimum node selects all the nodes. C4, C6, and D came from C5. D came from this direction, reverse direction, go to B2. So B2, max node. So where D came from? D came from here, C5, and D came from D6. So D6. So D came from D6, that is the max node. The C5 is max node. It selects only one node, that is D6. And next go to backward direction, this direction. So B2 is the minimum node. It selects all the nodes, that is C4 and C6. So best strategy C4, C6 and D6. Okay. And if D came from this direction, go to reverse direction. Go to reverse direction. D came from this side. So next best strategy, D came from this direction, B4 to C10. Because from this direction, best strategy, D came from here, D draw, and B4 is a minimum node. Minimum node selects all the nodes, C10, C11 and so win came from here. C10, C11 and C12 and don't write C11. C11 is also a max node. It can select the only one node. C11 selects the only one node because it is a max node. And W came from here. That is D12. D12, C10 and C12 are the best strategies. So for this diagram, how to find the best strategy means, so D, output of the tree is, first you have to solve the tree. Output of the tree is D. So D go to the reverse direction. D come from here or D came from here also. So possibility of the output of the tree D, this direction and this branch and this branch both. So go to this direction and reverse direction, D and D came from here. So come to B2. B2 is the minimum node. So minimum node selects all the nodes. So C4, C5 and C6. C4 and C6. Don't include C5 because C5 is a max node. It came from D6. Max node selects only one node. Only one node it selects. So that is D6. So C4, D6 and C6 are the best strategy. If output D come from this side, go this direction. So B4 is a minimum node. It selects all. That is C10, C11 and C12. So include C10 and C12. And again C11 came from, it is a max node. C11 is came from max node, selects only one node because it has childs also. So C11 selects the D12, W came. These are the best strategies. Okay, next evaluate the game tree in depth first, left right order. Depth first means first this in this depth wise and left to right. Solve the left to right order. Find the don't care nodes in the level C. In the level C, it asks the don't care nodes from C1 to C12. Enter the don't care nodes and its min max value. Don't care nodes means does not affect the output. Output not change. Does not affect the output. Output does not change. See, consider in the level C, all are max nodes. These are the max nodes. And the max nodes has values, minimum value and maximum value. So maximum value is win and minimum values are lose and draw. Okay, these are max nodes. If this max nodes is connected to A, its parent is minimum node. Minimum node, parent is, this is the parent. Parent is minimum node. If these are minimum values, if the max nodes has a minimum values, if the max node has a minimum values, that is L or D. Minimum values, it only change the output. Loss and D are minimum values, and the parent is also minimum node, only change the output. And the other childs are does not affect. See, come to level C. They are asking level C, C11 to C12. So C1, C2, C3, C4, C5, C6, C7, C8, C8. What are the don't care nodes? Don't care nodes means the output does not change. Consider the depth first. Depth first means start from C1 and go to left to right, C1 to C12. So come to C1. If C1 is the max node, C1 is the max node and its parent is minimum node. If C1 has L or D, it change the output. Output change. It change the output. C1 change the output. So C1 is not a don't care node. If C1 is first L, it has a minimum max node, but it has a minimum values, loss or draw, it can change the output. First loss, it can change the output. Rest or does not change. So C3 are don't care nodes with values draw and loss. These two are don't care nodes because this does not affect the output of this minimum node. When come to C4, C4 is a max node and it has a maximum value. Maximum value. It can affect the minimum node output, and the next child node C5 C6 also can affect the output. These are also affect the output. We can come to, please remember, this is a parent is a min node and child is a max node, and max nodes contain the least value, minimum value, loss. It can affect the output, and rest of the nodes are does not affect the rest of their childs are does not affect the output node. That is C8 C9 are don't care nodes, does not affect the output with values loss and draw. These are don't care nodes. Next, C10 C11 C12. If the max node contains the minimum value, when compared to win, draw is the minimum value. Draw, win, draw is the minimum value. There is no loss. So when max node has a minimum value and its parent is a minimum node, it affects the output. Only it affects the output. Other childs does not affect. Other childs does not affect the output. So these are don't care nodes. C11, C12 are don't care nodes, does not affect. Because when compared to win, draw is the minimum value. When max node has minimum value, only affect the output of the parent node. Rest of the childs does not affect. These two does not affect. These two also does not affect. These are also. This is the minimum value. Max node has a minimum value. Loss, draw, loss. Loss is the minimum value. So it will affect the output of the minimum node, parent node. It does not affect the other child's output. So C8, C9, C2, C3, C11, C12 are don't care nodes.